On last night's edition of Monday Night Raw, WWE finally acknowledged and responded to its record low viewership and basically explained how they're going to fix some of its glaring problems. As announced, Vince McMahon showed up on Raw for the first time in months. Whilst it was good to see the boss on the show, it was bittersweet as Vince's age is starting to show a lot more. He looked tired, his voice was slightly croaky, and you could see the toll that this business has taken on him after managing to hide it for so many years. He was joined by daughter Stephanie, son-in-law Triple H, and son Shane McMahon in a McMahon family reunion. Collectively, they acknowledged that fans aren't happy and that things need to change, and rather than having a heel or face authority run the show, Triple H mentioned that we now run the show. We are the authority, per se. While we won't get to obviously hire or fire anybody, they noted that we as a voice will be heard and that they will finally pay attention to us. This was certainly a bold promise and one that WWE shouldn't have mentioned lightly. Did they change though? Well, for the most part they did. Raw actually changed. WWE made a number of decisions to make the product better, which included number 1. Call-ups. The McMahons announced their first new change, and that was calling up a number of superstars to the main show. Whilst they already teased the call-up of the Freak Lars Sullivan at the Survivor Series, they announced EC3, Nikki Cross, Lacey Evans, and the team of Heavy Machinery. Whilst these are all good additions to each respective division, let's hope that they don't get lost in the shuffle, as introducing more and more talent doesn't equate to better ratings or a better show, but it is a step in the right direction. Number 2. The Revival finally get a win. After suffering weekly losses, the Revival finally got a bit of steam in their locomotive by winning a Fatal 4 tagway match, defeating AOP, Lucha House Party, and the B Team. Their win gives them the opportunity to face Raw Tag Team Champions Rude and Gable, hopefully finally giving them the push they deserve. Number 3. Announcing returns. Both Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have been away from Raw for some time due to suffering injuries. Owens required 2 knee surgeries and Zayn required 2 shoulder surgeries, but it looks like both are ready to return soon as WWE aired a promo hyping their return. Fingers crossed, they could even be back in time for the Rumble. Number 4. More dedication to the women's division. WWE also made the decision to dedicate a whole hour to the women's division by airing an 8-women gauntlet match to decide the number 1 contender for the Raw Women's Championship. Whilst Bayley performed the strongest in the match by eliminating both Alicia Fox and Dana Brooke, she was eventually eliminated by Mickie James. It would all come down to Sasha Banks and Natalya, but Natalya would strive to win, locking Banks in a sharpshooter, making her tap to become the number 1 contender. Some aren't exactly thrilled with Natalya winning and thought that Banks should now get back into the championship scene, but wouldn't you rather see Natalya lose in what is only going to be a throwaway bout? Number 5. Giving opportunities to other talent. After winning the Intercontinental Championship at TLC, Dean Ambrose made his own open challenge and surprisingly, it was answered by Tyler Breeze. It was a decent contest and finally a great positive change and opportunity for Breeze to get back onto regular TV. It also saw a little role reversal between Ambrose and Rollins, as Rollins was this time the one to play mind games by dressing up in disguise as a SWAT member to get the attack on Ambrose. And finally, number 6. Corbin gets demolished again. It's pretty cheap for the McMahons to use Baron Corbin as their scapegoat, but after all the unfairness he's dished out over the past several weeks, it's good to see him get a little taste of his own medicine. The only problem was this was the same thing that we saw at TLC. So it seems that WWE have learnt from their mistakes by creating more opportunities for smaller talent, calling up more talent from NXT, and listening to the fans for a change. However, was this change for only 1 episode? Since Raw for next week falls on Christmas Eve, it will not air live and has been pre-taped for next week. WWE managed to tape matches for next week's show right after last night's show. The results have already been leaked online and it shows quite a lackluster show. Of course, massive spoilers ahead. Unfortunately, WWE are still continuing with the Lashley vs Elias feud as Elias opens up the show with an in-ring promo, playing a Christmas themed song and insulting both Lashley and Lio Rush. Gimmick matches continue as this is a Miracle on 34th Street fight and Elias managed another win. We're not sure why this feud is continuing after Elias already beat Lashley. What's the point of the rematch? Oh, we get it. Comedy. After McIntyre interfered in the match between Ziggler and Balor, next week we'll see a triple threat match between them all. Again, surprisingly, like TLC, Balor came out with a win. WWE seem to face a problem with this next one. How do you hype 6 weeks of Braun vs Brock without the appearance of Brock Lesnar? Simple, just have Paul Heyman come out and say he's gonna win. End of. So, see you in 5 weeks' time. We mentioned earlier that it's likely the Raw Women's Championship match would be a throwaway match. Well, we were right, as the match between Rousey and Natalya was described as being long and boring by those who attended. Aren't you glad Banks wasn't wasted in this? Speaking of the women's division, a match we've never seen before. Sasha Banks, Bayley and Ember Moon take on the Riot Squad. We won't spoil this one for you, as we're sure you're looking forward to it. In another letdown, the Revival, who got their championship opportunity from last week's show, again came up short in winning the belt. What are they doing with this team? It's safe to say they are the worst handled team on the main roster today. And to top off next week's show, Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin battle again in the main event. This week's edition of Raw proved that change can be immediate, but next week's show looks abysmal. Have WWE taken 1 step forward and 2 steps back? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.